baby. Welcome in. It is the Ringer Sunday pregame with the Wise Guys, getting you ready across the board for Week 15 in the NFL. Today's Ringer Sunday pregame is brought to you by FanDuel. Well, we are live on the FanDuel Sports Network. Odds subject to change. Of course, you can check us out on YouTube. Jastremski alongside the rest of the Wise Guys. Let's welcome in Cousin Sal in Los Angeles. Oh my goodness. Joe House ready to teach common law, maybe at Georgetown or at Maryland, looking as snazzy as ever. And the astute Raheem Palmer in Las Vegas. Cousin Sal, we're fired up for this slate. I think it's the best Sunday of the year in the NFL. Storylines galore. And you need a pick-me-up, buddy boy, because your Mets with the richest owner in the sport have been asleep at the wheel. They're losing everybody. It's departure here, departure there. You need a little football this week, Sally.
You know how to kill my smile instantly there, JJ. Yes, best Sunday of the year, following the worst Monday through Saturday. I only want to hate Jerry Jones. Why do I have to bring another owner, Steve Cohen, into this? Just sign your players, spend your money. But, yeah, you're right, JJ. This is an amazing slate. I am heavily invested in like 12 of the 14 games today.
Now, Joe House, did you go with the professorial look on this Sunday because somebody is coming out of retirement who has not played a game basically in 5 years and now has put on an extra couple of pounds and all of a sudden puts his Hall of Fame eligibility by the boards? Is this attire a tribute to Sherlock Holmes or to Philip Rivers? I'm not sure.
I don't have a good answer for that, but anytime that a grandpa comes out of retirement and we can play a prop on whether or not his longest pass will exceed his number of kids, you have to dress up for that one. I'm dressed up for that one.
I understand. Well, I can't wait for your wise wager. I can't wait for your red hot man's best bet, which hit and puts me in quite the predicament going into trying to maintain this title that I hold. But Raheem Palmer, speaking of titles, you were at the NBA Cup in Las Vegas on Saturday. My New York Knicks took care of business, covered the 5.5 against the Orlando Magic. How about Wemby Mania, baby? The Spurs outright against the Thunder. Beautiful.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. And you look at the Spurs, their defense held the Oklahoma City Thunder to 85 points per 100 possessions in the half court. Wemby on the court absolutely stifled that Oklahoma City Thunder offense. So we've seen the Thunder, they've struggled with their half court offense before in the postseason. So this was, very interesting to see it happen again in the in-season tournament. And, they're on a way to break a record, but it's very, very, very interesting right now. We'll see what happens.
And we'll be fired up for the Knicks and the Spurs on Tuesday. Ways to go. Best NFL card of the year. Weather clearly going to be a factor because I almost fell on my ass like 4 or 5 times walking into the studios today with all of the snow we have in New York City. But you know what? I survived. I'm here in one piece. I did not pull a Marv from Home Alone, and we can have some fun breaking down these games. Let's start with an absolute must-win for the Kansas City Chiefs, who have lost a bunch of games in a row. They need to run the table in order to have any prayer making the postseason. They also need some help in addition. They're laying 5.5 against the Charger team that won on Monday night against the Eagles, beat up Justin Herbert, short week after playing the Monday night, and the total is at 41.5. Sal, I know everybody on this panel took advantage a week ago in taking the Houston Texans. They took care of business against Kansas City. The obituary is being written as we speak. Are the Chiefs officially dead or not so fast, buddy boy?
It's so weird what happens to us mentally, right? And psychologically. And by Sunday night, we're like, oh, they're dead. It's done. I don't need to see anymore. And by Wednesday, it's like, oh, I like this line. So I made this the Chiefs minus 5.5, my wise wager of the week, going for number 10. But the big question is it wise to be on the side of every public square on the continent? That's what I'm doing. It was 3.5 when we guessed the lines. It moved to 4.5. Now 5.5. No real developing injuries. Mahomes 18-5 straight up at home when facing a team he lost to earlier in the season. That's great. But this isn't so much a bet on Mahomes as it is the Chiefs defense, especially their second half defense, which was excellent again last week, held Houston to just 1 first down on its opening 5 possessions of the third quarter. And I think it's going to be a lot of the same this week with Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and Ashton Gillott combined for 18 pressures last week. They've been there all year. Justin Herbert got dropped 7 times Monday night versus Philly, who was so ineffective, the Chargers were only able to amass 275 total yards. Don't forget, LA's put together some messy road games. They lost to the Giants. They got annihilated by the Jaguars. Short rest for a weary Chargers offensive line. I think they get punished by the Chiefs front 7. Casey takes this by double digits. They stick around for another week. 28-16, lay the 5.5. Let's go, boys.
Kelly, I love this one. And it's funny you mentioned the idea of all of the squares lining up to go and bet Kansas City in this spot. I totally disagree. To me, a lot of people are going to look at the Chiefs. They're going to see the last couple of weeks, and they're going to say, wow, Charger team with all these wins. These games are normally close. I'm going to go and grab the 5.5. This line got to 6 24, 48 hours ago. I think you're on the sharp side, buddy boy. I like Kansas City as well. I think the Chargers are an absolute mess going into this game. House, you know I have a ticket on the Chiefs. This has been something we have decided to do with the East Coast Bias Boys. It feels like year after year is, hey, stack a Kansas City future into your portfolio. I think the 8-1 and a 10-1 that I already have is dead to rights. Are you trying to make the case that I should, dare I say, double the meat?
Double. Let's go 6 times. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. We've never seen a price like this for the Kansas City Chiefs. They are 65-1 as we sit here today to win the Super Bowl. The implied probability of that is 1.5%. But here's the thing: if the Chiefs make the playoffs, tell me how many games that they will be underdogs in. I can come up with possibly 1 at best, and that would be on the road at Houston, depending on how all the scenarios play out. But otherwise, this Chiefs team, if you go inside the metrics, they measure out quite favorably to last year's team that won 15 games. Last year's team that was a favorite in the Super Bowl. Last year's team that many people thought was going to win the Super Bowl and have a three-peat. At 65-1, you just have to have a ticket. And the reason especially is because when they kill the Chargers today, they are in prime position to take away the Chargers playoff spot and make the playoffs themselves.
Okay, Dream. Interesting analysis. Crazy number on Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, but it has felt like a team, despite what the underlying metrics may say, that's been flat out snake bit. Last year, they were finding ways to win week after week after week. This year, it's actually been the opposite for Kansas City in a lot of these close games. And simply put, we're running out of time. So 5.5 for the game, all of these futures that House is laying out. How do you want to get on board with this?
So I really was hoping this number got to 6 so I could take on the Los Angeles Chargers. It's just, to me, it's too many points to lay with a team that has a messed up offensive line. Now, both of these offensive lines are banged up. Obviously, last week, you look at the Chargers, they allowed a 70% pressure rate against the Philadelphia Eagles. And then the Chiefs, they allowed a 47% pressure rate against the Houston Texans. So neither one of these teams can protect the quarterback. So this has 3-point game written all over it. And I actually think you probably should be looking towards the under, because I don't know how either one of these teams are going to score efficiently. I think you're going to see a lot of punts in this matchup. So I think 5.5 is a little bit too high. I think the one thing I will say is that I think the Chargers, they're a little bit used to playing with a bad offensive line. I mean, the offensive line's been banged up all year since Joe Alt went out. So it's just, I don't know how you could lay points with this Chiefs team at this point in time. Each and every week, you look at the last 5-6 weeks, they've taken money and they've yet to cover. So I think at this point in time, I'm just going to stick my money in my pocket and not bet on this team.
Fair enough. Boys, this is the game I can't wait to watch. A battle in the AFC East. The New England Patriots have not lost a game, and it feels like a lifetime, yet they lead the division. They're the talk of the league. Mike Vrabel, Drake May. They're home underdogs to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. This line is at 1.5. The total is at 48.5. And I'll start the proceedings here. To me, it's a statement game for Josh Allen and Buffalo. They were tremendous in the second half against the Cincinnati Bengals a week ago. They took advantage of 2 Joe Burrow turnovers that ended up being the difference in the game. And Josh Allen, throughout his career, has absolutely owned the New England Patriots. Now, I know what you're going to tell me. Mike Vrabel off of bye has been money. The New England Patriots have been money. New England has not exactly played a murderer's row schedule. In fact, what's the signature win outside of the win they have at Buffalo earlier this year? You're telling me New England is going to sweep the Buffalo Bills this year? I don't think Josh Allen allows that to happen. Sometimes it's simple analysis. Best player in the sport is going to go and put the Superman cape on today. Sometimes you need that hard-hitting analysis around here. Let's not get cute. Let's not try to reinvent the wheel, Raheem. Give me Josh Allen to go and be Superman, and give me the Buffalo Bills to go and take down the New England Patriots. You, sir, want to get a little creative with this game? Get an SGP for me.
Yes, I do. My first leg of the SGP is the Bills on the money line. If you look at the Patriots, they played Geno Smith, Tua, Aaron Rodgers, Bryce Young, Spencer Rattler, Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, a broken down Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields, Joe Flacco, and Jackson Dart. And I know they beat Josh Allen earlier this year, but if you look back at that game, the Patriots won by 3 in a game in which the Bills had 2 fumbles, 1 interception, with 2 of those fumbles being inside of the New England 10-yard line. So Josh Allen's going to be the best quarterback that they've played all year long, and I think he's going to take advantage of this defense without Milton Williams. I like the over in this matchup. I don't care if it's snowing. They call it a snover for a reason. The offensive player knows where they're going, but the defensive player does not know where they're going. And you saw one last week between the Bills and the Bengals. I think you're going to see another one. So let's go over 48.5 for the second leg. And for my third leg, let's go with Josh Allen over 228.5 passing yards. I think he throws at will against this Patriots defense. So that's my same game parlay. Bills money line over 48.5 and Josh Allen over 228.5 passing yards.
I'm glad you mentioned Josh Allen. Have some more thoughts on him a little bit later on in the show. Now, Sal, I know you're kind of conflicted on this game because you'll be doing guess the lines later. We all know what this scenario will be if indeed New England wins this game. You're not going to be in great spirits after that, and then you got to deal with your Cowboys playing on Sunday night, which is an entirely different story. Are you going with a little bit of an emotional hedge here on this game with the way you're trying to play it?
I'm just going to root for you guys, and I can't get in the way. You're right. I need the Patriots to lose. It would be nice, but also I can't follow all the narratives that will be pleasing to the eye of the NFL fan, where Mahomes wins and Josh Allen wins. So I'm going to take the coward's way out and go Patriots over 24.5 points. I get all the trends say Buffalo. Teams who are 9 games over 500 to be listed as underdogs over the last 5 seasons. Thank you, Todd Furman. 0. They don't win. They don't win. They don't cover. They don't do anything. But this, I think, could be a last possession type of thing. I'm surprised the team total is actually so low, 24.5. They average 27 per game, 32 over the last 5 played in Foxborough. They've gone 8 consecutive games with 24 or more points. They're second in the NFL in passing yards. Lots of deep throws downfield by Drake Maybe. The Bills are 21st in the league in touchdowns allowed. You know, Bengals, Bucks, and Finns, all 30-plus over the last month against them. I think New England could have 17 or more at half. I got to root for this. So, team, but we got to get this going so that Simmons can't just be gloating all of December and all of January and, God forbid, February. So I'm going Pats over 24.5 team points.
House, doesn't this line tell you a story, though? New England hasn't lost in forever. They're the talk of the league. They're at home. They win today, basically. They win the AFC East. And yet the odds makers say, not so fast. We're making Buffalo road favorites.
Well, the bookmakers understand the market that they're operating in, and they also look at the fact that Josh Allen was very successful against this defense. He had a very high success level, one of his best across the entire season. In the earlier matchup, the Bills just beat themselves, 11 penalties and 3 turnovers. And, for sure, the quality of the New England Patriots is factoring into this. To me, this is an overplay. I like the case that Sal just made for New England getting its points. I have no concern about about Buffalo getting its points over 48.5 feels like a great play to me.
Boys, these marquee games are absolutely fantastic. Let's head to Denver, where you have a rematch of the John Elway, Terrell Davis, Brett Favre Super Bowl, one of my favorite Super Bowls of the 1990s, without hesitation. You have Denver as a home underdog taking on a Packer team that has treated us rather nicely each of the last 2 weeks. Cousin Sal and I rode together last week in the Packer-Bear game. We had to hold on for dear life, Sally boy, but a win is a win, a cover is a cover, and you know what I'm about to do, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? I am going right back to the well with the team that treated me nicely a week ago. I am taking the Green Bay Packers as road favorites against a Denver team that, yes, is red hot, but a Denver team to me that is over freaking rated. You're telling me Bo Nix against this Packer defense is going to be able to sustain drives? You think Bo Nix is going to be able to play 4 complete quarters against the Green Bay Packers? I, for one, don't see it. And you know what I see in Green Bay? An ascending football team. Look at the way Jordan Love has played. That connection, that chemistry with Christian Watson. It is helping out dramatically within the red zone as far as big plays are concerned. There's a sense of physicality that I am seeing from the Green Bay rushing attack. Josh Jacobs, you know I love a fellow JJ. And I think the Green Bay Packers, who the darlings in the analytics community have loved all year, they're starting to see the ascend. The nerds are finally getting the payoff, and I'm getting the payoff. Sorry, Denver. The better quarterback plays for the Green Bay Packers. The more complete team here would happen to be the Green Bay Packers. They're going to take care of business. Sally, you're not going back to the well here with my Packers. What's going on here?
I know. I'm going against you. And you're right. Green Bay's the better team. If these two teams matched up in the Super Bowl and I just had to pick a winner, Green Bay, I wouldn't really even think about it. I just don't like, JJ, when public perception doesn't match the line at all, right? So Green Bay's back after handling their NFC North foes and back-to-back weeks. I think they won 3 in a row there. The Broncos continue to get lucky. Everyone's down on them for not covering that Raiders game. That was a friggin' miracle. And yet this is only 1.5. And the truth is, the Broncos don't lose. They have a 10-game winning streak. However they do it, they get it done. Bo Nix, at home, as a dog, he gets it done. 8-3 against the spread. Maybe this is just a weird interconference game that the Packers don't get up for. Don't forget, they play Saturday against Chicago at Chicago. That's really the big one. And it's not great that Josh Jacobs is semi-available. I think we're due for a what's wrong with Jordan Love type game here, JJ. It's cold, lowest scoring game, decided late. Give me the Orange Crush, 22-19. Grab the 1.5.
Okay, Haas, what do you make of Green Bay, Denver, considering, hey, Green Bay each of the last 2 weeks, fantastic. Found ways to win, found ways to cover. Denver, hey, we saw him against your Commanders, House, a couple weeks ago. I saw Marcus Mariota do whatever he wanted to do against that Denver defense. I know Denver's got a lot of talent there. I know they're super well coached. I think you can make plays against that defense if you take care of the football. And if you're able to go and run the football, which is something I think Green Bay can do.
JJ, I'm leaning in the direction of the cousin Sal here. I think it's a tough spot for Green Bay. You have Green Bay coming off of 2 very tough divisional games in the form of the Thanksgiving game against Detroit and then holding serve in a physical, cold game against the Bears. This traveling to Denver all by itself is always a challenge, playing at altitude. The Jacobs thing is meaningful, but I understand the proper skepticism around Denver. The thing is, they stepped up against the teams that are up in class. They have wins against Philadelphia, Houston, and Kansas City this season, and 2 of those games were on the road. Now, they did knock C.J. Stroud out of the game in that Houston game, but still, he was on the field when they started, and they just tend to be up for games against the teams that are above them in class. So I'm with Sal on this one, JJ.
He's getting emotional. He started crying.
I mean, seriously. My goodness, Dream, am I going to be on an island with the Packers on this game? Are you signing with the boys, or am I going to get a little family unity here?
Yeah, I think you're on an island.
You know what? Bring it on. Let's go. Let's go.
Here's
you want
the
to get
thing.
nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts. Why do you like the Broncos, Raheem?
It's not that I like the Broncos. It's that I don't like the Packers in this spot. And there's some followers on here who say I'm a generational Packer hater. That's not true. I just don't like them in this spot. The Broncos are the only team left that's undefeated at home. They're 6-0 at home, and they've won 11 straight home games. And if there's one thing that we know about the Denver Broncos in Mile High Stadium, it has the highest home field advantage in football. And I think you could follow that by saying that Green Bay also has the highest home field advantage in football as well. So I just think this number is pretty dead on. I actually have a model that says Denver should be -1. And there's a reason why this number has been bet down from Green Bay -2.5 to Green Bay -1.5. So I think the sharp side is Denver. And I just don't think that we're giving Denver enough credit. It may not be pretty. I mean, Bo Nix may not be the best quarterback in the world, but for whatever reason, they're getting it done. And the numbers and the models say that this is basically a pick'em game. And if you're saying that this is a pick'em game and you're saying that the Broncos have one of the best home field advantages in sports, I think there's a reason why the sharps are all over Denver. So that's the side I lean towards.
Sal, isn't it wild? New England and Denver in the AFC, 2 best records, gaudy win totals, have basically taken care of business week after week after week. Yet we're in week 15. It is the home stretch of the NFL season. And you could get both of those teams as home underdogs this week. Pretty wild.
It's nuts. It's turned into college football where Riley Leonard could get to the championship game. Is that what we're going to do? Like, we don't have to worry about Lamar or, Mahomes being in this and Burrow, obviously. Like, you have to root for these quarterbacks who are, unconventional. But, yeah, that is ridiculous that we're week, 15 and these guys are underdogs? Nuts.
Boys, we got so much more coming your way on this loaded week 15 edition of the Ringer Sunday pregame. We got a Sunday night game involving Sal and Raheem's boys, and a Monday night game with my team. Are they going to be frisky? We'll find out next.
How could 2 teams, Miami and Notre Dame, take shots at Bama for losing a conference title game, a top 2 conference title game, when they didn't even play in a conference title game? One wasn't good enough, and the other refuses to join a conference. So to me, that's asinine. A. B, yes, you're right. When you talk about like going back from year to year, like, well, why wasn't it like, I kind of like that the committee screws over a different team every year. You can't just say, oh, they screw over the SEC every year. Alabama was last year. This year it's Notre Dame. That's kind of cool. But other than that, what's the solution? What do you do? What does Greg McElroy say?
I think the first thing is you reference going to 16. I'm not entirely on board with that because you and I, Sal, will be having this conversation. We'd say, oh, man, I don't know. Who do you like? Arizona or Michigan? Look at those 2 teams. It's like, well, now we're only making it weaker on the back end, and yet the strength of argument will still continue to percolate whatever side you're on. And you're going to
let me tell you the difference. Let me say what the difference I think is. The difference is Notre Dame could potentially have won the championship as a top 10 team, or Miami, whoever they booted there.
Sure.
When you get down to the Arizonas and Michigans, all right, someone's going to get screwed over, but at that point, you can't make are they going to really win it? Like, I know once we're fractioning this off, but
right.
with the 3 lost teams, whatever, I don't feel as bad.
Sure. And with Texas, for example, they could win it. They're outside. So like that, they're at 13.
Okay.
Could Vanderbilt have win it? I don't know. Maybe.
Right.
Probably not. But in reality, I think you're only weakening the regular season. Teams that lose a quarter of their games probably aren't really deserving of an opportunity. So you're only cutting off your nose to spite your face. I think the first fix is to take a good, strong look at conference championship games. What I think a lot of people are having a hard time with here is that Alabama lost the way they lost in the SEC championship game. Mm-hmm. But what people don't realize is that Alabama, by playing that game, actually strengthened their metrics. As crazy as that sounds, their strength of record improved, their strength of schedule improved. Mm-hmm. Their strength of schedule went from 11 to 6 just by playing the game. Meanwhile, Notre Dame and Miami, they're still sitting there at 44 and 45 respectively. That to me is crazy. We're right. Wide gap there just by playing the game, but we need to reimagine conference championship games because the fact that Duke won a 5-way tiebreaker in the ACC to make it to the conference title game because the teams they played didn't fall off a cliff after they played them is not conducive to making sure that your conference championship goes to your best team. It doesn't do you any good.
I think the ACC already fixed that. Like if this were to happen next year. No, I'm not kidding. Like Miami, they did change the.
Welcome back to the Week 15 edition of the Ringer Sunday pregame with the Wise Guys right here on the FanDuel Sports Network. Of course, streaming on YouTube. And for what it's worth, we have a little YouTube poll up if you want to go and, dare I say, participate. Who you got? Packers, Broncos. JJ over here siding with Green Bay. My guy, Cousin Sal, going against me. So if you want to get on board with the action, go ahead and vote on our YouTube
I think I'm
stream.
behind here, JJ. Was it 58-40? I'm just going to keep voting.
Yeah, but it's too close to call right now. That's like 10% of the precincts are in.
To 43.
Well, I don't want to lose, Raheem. I'm going to keep voting.
Losing a good thing here? Don't you?
I was going to say, I don't know if winning is necessarily a good thing for what it's worth.
You know what? You guys talk about
people,
these dumb games. I'll vote.
Public works.
I'm going to keep here. I'm going to stay here and vote like 200 or 300 times. I can't lose this.
Look at you trying to rig elections. Bad boy. Bad boy. Okay. Cowboys, Vikings, Sunday Night Football. Line is at 5.5. 5.5. Not 5. 5.5. 5.5. Total at 47.5. Sal, got to give you a ton of credit here. You have been on fire with these teases.
Yeah.
It all of a sudden has become the dirty little secret of the Ringer Sunday pregame. You know, you've been working these in. I think it's the influence of hanging with Simmons all these years. You guys are just obsessed with the tease. You have Simmons. You guys can't get enough. You can't get enough. You can't get enough. You have one for us involving your Dallas Cowboys. What's going to be?
It's a sickness, JJ. I see the line beginning of the week at 6, 6.5. No, it's 1.5 for me because I have to find a dance partner for it and put it in a teaser. And yeah, I've hit 5 in a row on this show. I don't think I hit 5 teasers through all of my 20s. I don't know how this is working out, but you know, here it is, another Sunday nighter. Should I start faking an illness for when the Cowboys blow this so I don't have to be patronized by Bill 3 minutes after the loss on Guess the Lines going through the playoff scenarios for the 6-7-1 Cowboys, but I hope that's not the case. I actually like the boys here and the over on a teaser. Plus a half now. They only have to win. They only have to beat KOC, not the former Ringer employee, the coach who has led his team to a 1-7 record straight up at night in primetime. Would love it if Diggs were playing. He practiced all week. They're taking precautions, but Coach Schottenheimer thinks he can get it done versus J.J. McCarthy. Without him, I agree. But I see a bunch of points scored. The Vikings, 22nd best defense versus the run. The Cowboys, we know, 32nd against the pass. Minnesota allowed 28 points a game the last 4 on the road, and Dallas allowed 26 points a game over the last 3 at home. Let's call it 27-22 Cowboys, plus a half, over 41.5 wins me teaser number 6 in a row and prolongs the agony of Jair's and mine and Raheem's team having a prayer to make the postseason.
All right, I work with not only one Cowboy fan, but I have another one. Raheem Palmer, who was at the beginning of the Cowboy turnaround in a way, that game in Las Vegas where the Cowboys absolutely laid the smackdown against a hapless, pathetic, sad football team. I wouldn't say Minnesota fits that description, Raheem. They showed some life on Sunday a week ago against House's Commanders. They are much healthier than what they've been on defense, but they still have a J.J. McCarthy problem. What do you make of your boys on Sunday night?
With all disrespect, the Dallas Cowboys are not the Commanders. The Dallas Cowboys are a much better team. I'm laying it with the Cowboys, minus 5.5. The Cowboys are averaging 32.5 points per game at home. They are 4-1-1 at home this season. The one loss was against the Arizona Cardinals, who, I mean, whatever reason, they always beat us. And then the tie was against the Green Bay Packers, who most people on this panel and most people in the world will say the Packers are one of the best teams in the NFL. The Cowboys are going to take this team into the deep waters and absolutely drown them. If Jonathan James McCarthy, who is, only completing 56% of his passes, has 9 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, can put up 25 points, because we know the Cowboys are going to score on a fast track, I will hand him the money. I will literally drive to Minnesota and donate to his charity, whether it's the Jerry Lewis Foundation, whether it's Toys for Tots, whatever charity he got, I will donate, because the Cowboys are going to cover this game. They're going to take them into the deep waters, and they're going to drown them, and they're going to step on this team. I'm laying a 5.5 with the Cowboys. It's an ABCD handicap, no DVOA, no EPA per play. It's just the Cowboys are better, straight up.
I love when we get confident, swagalicious Raheem Palmer when it comes to talking about his football team and when he feels good about his football team. There's always a pep in Raheem's step when he does the Ringer Sunday pregame, but there are certain octaves that we can hit. There are certain levels that we try to get to. I'm getting that level out of you, buddy boy. I love the confidence. I got to say, fellas, this is a rat line for me. The reason it profiles as a rat line is the Cowboys with extra time to prepare, the Cowboys and what they do on offense, it seems like a smash spot. Yet it's a Sunday night special. I know the Cowboys are going to be the back end of every tease, of every parlay. You know it, House, right? Like everything you feel good about on a Sunday. Oh, let's throw it with the Cowboys. Oh, we like this, we like that. Let's throw it with the Cowboys. And the odds makers are more than comfortable keeping this number right where it's at 5.5. I just think it stinks. I have a hard time going either way on this particular game, House. This is my rat line of the week. This game stinks to the high heavens.
Your point about the Sunday night bit is very well taken, but I am very much in the direction of our Cowboy brethren, even though Raheem's out here disrespecting he didn't have to bring up the Commanders as part of it.
That was cruel, House. I have to admit, that was cruel.
I will say, the Vikings defense has been playing better. They were very good in Seattle a couple of weeks. They obviously shut out Washington. I mean, pat on the back for that, I guess. But the thing is, with the Flores blitz, the guy in the NFL who is extraordinary against the blitz, and especially at home, is your boy Dakota Prescott. And that man just stands back there, poised, unruffled, and has no issue whatsoever putting up very positive EPA, positive success. He gets cooking against the blitz. And I think against this, we got J.J. McCarthy on the road in prime time. I'm glad that he got the Commanders game under his belt. Is he going to be able to duplicate that against the Cowboys? I don't see it. So I'm with Dream and Cuz on this one.
You know what? Can I just say something, JJ and Raheem? Tell me if you agree with this here. As an emotional hedge and, as something I think the Vikings have to accomplish, I'm betting Justin Jefferson's props over today, because I think from now to the end of the year, the only thing the Vikings have to do, they're not making the playoffs, is make Justin Jefferson happy. And he didn't show up to the press conference last week, and there's some rumblings that he wants to leave and get traded. They got to get him the ball. He's got to have a big game. And, this defense is one that he could do it against. I'm not saying the Cowboys won't still win and cover, but that's a player prop on the other side I wouldn't mind taking.
Is the gritty still a thing? Because I haven't seen him gritty all year.
Yeah. Well, I saw Gesicki gritty last week, so it's still a thing. It's just he's not doing much of it. You know,
is it a thing? Crazy. If Gesicki does it, it's a thing.
The Gesicki gritty.
Guess what? Gesicki actually, believe it or not, last week, Joe House scored a touchdown. You haven't been able to say that much when it comes to a certain JJ. I think the only JJ gritty in these days is the guy who's on the Ringer Sunday pregame, not the guy who's playing for the Minnesota Vikings, and that's a problem. But I get your logic, Sal. I get your point. Now, you guys got to dissect your favorite football team. Speaking of my favorite football team, the 6-7 Miami Dolphins taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are fresh off a big win at Baltimore a week ago. And, boys, let me lay it out for you. I've been a Dolphin fan since, 1993. I'm born in 1988. And I know something from the days of Dan Marino to the days of Jimmy Johnson to the days of Dave Wannstedt and Ryan Tannehill and now McDaniel and Tua. Death, taxes, and the Dolphins going in cold weather and getting absolutely destroyed in the month of December. That has been the game the Dolphins have lost my entire life. I can't believe I'm about to do what I'm about to do. Fellas, I don't like. I love the Miami Dolphins outright against the Pittsburgh Steelers, despite everything I just said. Why? The Miami Dolphins have a sense of physicality they have not had in years. Devon Achane is playing like one of the best running backs in the league. The Miami Dolphin offensive line has imposed their will quite a bit over these last few weeks. And look at the way the Dolphin defense has played. They are forcing turnovers. They are hard hitting. And I know it's true in cold weather. I know it's the Miami Dolphins in cold weather. Hey, they were in Pittsburgh throwing snowballs, practicing in it to get ready on Saturday night. You guys can mock me for this. I know this is probably not going to age well. I don't care. I think the Dolphins are playing better football. This is not a homer pick. This is hard-hitting analysis. Sally boy, you can make fun of me all you like.
No.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Dolphins money line.
No, look, in general, it's probably not smart to bet against death and taxes, but I see what you're saying here. And I'm going to go with a player prop that is in line with what you're talking about. Devon Achane, 18-plus carries on Monday night. You spelled it out for us last week, JJ. They took the ball out of Tua's hands, and just like that, combined with a middle school schedule, let's face it, the Dolphins are 6-7. And here's what you have to know. They're 0-7 when they throw for 30 or more times a game. They're 6-0 when they run 30 or more times a game. I have to think Mike McDaniel, originally a run specialist, by the way, has seen this stat and created a game plan that suits this trend, right? And now against the Steelers, who are 27th against the run and last in the league in rushing first downs allowed. Easy game plan. I'm not worried about the Dolphins' record in the cold or how great Tomlin and Rodgers have been on Monday. Achane's had 20-plus carries 3 games in a row before getting a little dinged last week. He's back. Let's stick to the formula, JJ. Achane, 18-plus rush attempts. And look at the Dolphins featured on that back in the hunt graphic. Oh, you love that graphic, JJ. You'll be in the bottom right, but it'll be there at 7-7.
A tradition unlike any other. The Dolphins clinging to playoff hopes in the hunt. Joe House, I have to admit, I'm driving back Thursday night, dealing with all the madness of the Alonso aftermath. I put on the Ringer 107 picks with you and Mr. Simmons, and I almost drove off the Brooklyn Bridge when I heard Simmons and you both actually endorse the Miami Dolphins as an underdog pick.
Yeah, I don't see very much difference between these two teams, if we're being completely honest. And I think ratings-wise, they're pretty close. Taking TJ Watt out of this mix is really dramatic. And, you know, the skepticism around the Dolphins in the cold is fair enough. But what we saw out of the Dolphins, now it was against the Jets, okay. But they had a pass run ratio that was on the money, and is exactly the way that I think that they might be able to exploit this Pittsburgh team. You have no idea what you're going to get out of Aaron Rodgers week to week, and Pittsburgh, for whatever reason, hasn't really been able to establish the run in a bit. So I think the Dolphins are absolutely live. Simmons and I love grabbing the points, but JJ, if you had not taken them on the money line, I was gonna. Let me tell you.
Well, got to catch up. When you snooze, you lose. Although sometimes you snooze, you win, because Joe House has been putting his picks in last and he's having himself quite the year. Man's best bet, wise wagers, all that mumbo jumbo. Dream, can we make it a clean sweep? Dolphins here for the wise
I like
guys?
the Dolphins +3. I agree with you guys on the money line. I think when you take out TJ Watt, it's just a game changer. The Steelers are 1-10 since 2020 without TJ Watt. So that's just a bad spot for them. And also, I just don't think the Steelers team is very good. They should have lost to Baltimore last week. Obviously, you got the Isaiah Likely touchdown, which was a touchdown. They got taken away. I just don't think they're very good. I don't know what you're going to get from Aaron Rodgers. And then more importantly, I just think the Miami Dolphins are playing better football right now. And it looks like Mike McDaniel might, save his job at this point in time. So I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins +3, and I agree with you on the money line.
So it's wild. We have not gotten to the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams yet. And Danny Heifetz, our buddy from the Ringer Fantasy Football Show, who makes his cameos here on the Ringer Sunday pregame from time to time, he's got to play for us. Let's see if we are united in a certain side in this game. Danny Heifetz, take it away.
Ringer Wise guys, what's up? I got an offering for the family, Lions, Rams. I don't even know if this is still really a revenge game. At this point, Jared Goff has actually been with the Lions longer than he was ever with the Rams. Even with that, I'm going with the Rams, giving the points. This Lions secondary is in such a bad place, man. Brian Branch has the torn Achilles. The Lions have injuries all over the secondary. It was already not one of the strongest points of the season. Kirby Joseph has missed almost 2 months. Even if he comes back and plays in this game, Kirby Joseph not at 100%. Matt Stafford versus a bunch of backup safeties with like sub-caliber starting cornerbacks. I do not think the Lions defense is going to be able to stop them, and I don't think the Lions offense is going to be able to pick on Emmanuel Forbes every single drive to keep up with the Rams, because I don't think the Rams are getting stopped. Give me the Rams, give me the points, give me Stafford. May your parlays be prosperous.
All right, Rams to play for Danny Heifetz. Joe House, I was disgusted with how your wise wager lost on Monday night, because I, too, had my hard-earned American dollars on the Philadelphia Eagles, and it was a very successful Week 14 for your boy. I'm not going to deny that. However, I'm still sick to my stomach after the way Jalen Hurts played. I don't want to open the wound from just a few days ago, but we want to get you back on track. I want to get that out of your system. We want to get a wise wager that is a winner. And are you riding with Danny Heifetz? You fading him. What's the play in this game?
Yeah, JJ, last week's behind us. Next week is right here staring us in the face. It's an opportunity for wins again. Danny Heifetz, DC guy. I know he's a New Yorker, but transplant. We have a lot of those down here. Not surprising he and I might see the world the same way. This is sad for the Detroit Lions, a smash spot for the LA Rams at 5.5. The problem for the Lions is cluster injuries in their secondary that include a word that I'm going to use to describe the Brian Branch, a catastrophic injury to Brian Branch in terms of what the Detroit Lions try to do defensively. Here's the problem. Sean McVay and this LA Rams team looks at a situation they can take advantage of, and they jump inside of it, and they pull it wide open, and they stay in there like they're going to live there for 3 weeks. Wow. Because the scheming and the personnel superiority of this Rams team, they take a look at a situation where Detroit already bad at giving up explosive plays, bottom 5 in plays of over 20 yards. Already bad in red zone defense. One of the bottom 3 teams in red zone. They can't mount a pass rush. The Rams are going to be able to score on every possession unless they turn the ball over, and Detroit won't be able to keep up. So much respect for the Detroit offense. But look at them against teams up in class. They went up against Green Bay, Philadelphia. They had a home game against Minnesota, and I'm putting Minnesota in this conversation because of their defense. And none of those games, they lost all 3 of them. And this situation, this is their playoff life on the line. I understand that, but the Rams are playing for a 1 seed, and they cannot look past this game because they have Seattle next Thursday night. The Rams defense is in the same caliber as the defenses we just mentioned. The Rams are rated as the number 1 team in the NFL. I'm a big Detroit Lions supporter. I like what Dan Campbell's doing. It's not their year. The Rams are going to roll.
Raheem, you say, not so fast, buddy boy, not so fast. Why is this your man's best bet?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Lions on the money line plus 215. And I look at this number, and it just doesn't add up to me. These teams played week 1 of last year. The Lions were laying 5.5 at home. They ended up winning 26-20 in overtime. The look-ahead line on this game in the preseason was minus 1.5. So how do we get to Rams minus 5.5? I just think that's a gigantic, switch. Now, obviously, we know the Rams are the better team. We know that the Lions, they have cluster injuries in the secondary. But you look at this Rams team, they lost to the 49ers without Brock Purdy. They lost to the Panthers as 10.5-point favorites. And they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. Those are 3 teams who can run the ball. Well, what do the Detroit Lions do? They run the ball. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery could have a giant day, huge days for them. And I think it kind of keep the Rams offense off the field. And if there's one thing that we know about this Rams team is that the secondary is pretty weak. So if you look at some of those games against Mac Jones kind of got whatever he wanted. So I do think the Detroit Lions are live to score some points. And you look at Devontae Adams, he's a little banged up. And if, you just get some mistakes from the Rams, if they just don't play a perfect game, I think the Lions are live here. I think this line is probably a couple points too high. I think this line should be closer to, 3.5 as opposed to 5.5. So I think the betting markets with the money line are saying that Detroit has a 60% chance. I think this should be closer to probably about, I'd say 55% chance for the Rams to win this game. I think it's way too high at this point in time. So I'm going to take the Lions on the money line. It's ugly. I know the Rams are the better team, but I just think the pricing is off here.
Fair enough. Sal, I'll let you break the tie. Who you like in this game?
Well, you know what I don't like is you look at the board and you're like, all right, all the big favorites, all those giant 10-point favorites, 13, 14 are going to win, and the Rams are going to win and cover. Like, one of these has to go down. Like, I'm not going to change the world by taking the Dolphins on Monday night or the Patriots. Those are small spreads. So I'm conflicted here. But ultimately, I'm going Rams minus 9.5. I'm taking the adjusted because I think it's worth it, a plus 164. I'm going to go with House's wise wager and scaling the ladder with it, minus 9. You got to be careful, by the way, on ladders, hanging lights and ornaments and whatnot during the holiday season. Somehow that's in my my Instagram feed with people falling off ladders trying to hang lights. So I know that and mowing lawns. But anyway, I digress. Jack Wilson told us to stretch here. I'm confident. No casualties in the Rams, minus 9.5 adjusted. December, ironically, is when Sean McVay heats up. He's now 16-3 against the spread in Santa season. The Rams don't screw up when they have favorable field position, and that's where the Lions defense is deficient. 21st in the league in red zone defense. They also seem to be down their top 3 safeties, which is a big deal. And also, 6 of the Rams' last 7 wins are by 14 plus. That's why I like this adjusted number. I'd like to separate from House, but I don't think it's happening in the wise wager category as Stafford and the boys take this. I'll say 31-20, lay the 9.5 for a plus 164 payout.
Dream, you're on an island with this one. I like the Rams. I'd lay the number. I wouldn't think twice. Sal hit on the fact that Detroit absolutely decimated in that secondary. That's problematic when you're going up against Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. And to me, at least with Detroit, the kind of profile is that sort of public dog potentially, because they are a popular team. The people betting week in and week out like backing Goff. They like backing Campbell. They like backing those prolific running backs. I think it's going to be a long day for the Lions. I'd lay it with the best team in the NFL, the Los Angeles Rams. Now, before we get to the Browns and the Bears, Sal, Benford, McDuffie. Benford for the Bills, McDuffie for the Chiefs, both out.
Oh,
that's big news. Does that change the count? I mean, there's no turning back now, but if there's a bigger injury to monitor here in this game, these 2 games that we had, the Bills and the Patriots, the Chiefs and the Chargers, what has more of an impact to you?
They figure it out defensively, I think. Spagnuolo's got it. It's a must win, and I get it. It's not good to have defenders out, especially after I just went off on the Lions, having 3 guys out. But I'm sticking with it. Chiefs are the pick. Square as can be. I'll do it.
You know, House, I don't love that Benford injury for Buffalo. That Buffalo defense leaves a whole lot to be desired to begin with. He made a game-changing play just a week ago against Cincinnati. Maybe we should be looking at some Stephon Diggs props. You know, I didn't mention that with that Bills-Patriot game. Revenge game for him obviously means a whole lot to go and sweep the Buffalo Bills potentially. That may be a way to look at Bills-Patriots. Stephon Diggs props.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Any way you want to tilt to overs in that game are perfectly fine by me. Benford is quietly, I think, their defensive MVP. I think that's a significant blow. Far less severe than McDuffie for the Chiefs, because Justin Herbert, he was inaccurate last week. He was throwing the ball all over the place because he was constantly under duress. I expect a replay of that against the Chargers-Chiefs situation. But for the Bills, this thing's lining up like a track meet. I really feel like there's a shootout coming.
Diggs had a gigantic game, JJ, pretty sure. First time they matched up, right?
No question. Dream, do these 2 injuries change your calculus at all for you on these 2 games or not at all?
The Bills already have so many injuries at this point in time. The only way they're going to win is through offense. And the Chiefs and the Chargers, I mean, it's basically a hospital out there between both teams at this point in time. So you got Justin Herbert out there. I mean, like House said, he was inaccurate due to his hands. So, and the offensive line is just so banged up. So I don't think it changes much. And you saw the lines. I mean, the lines aren't changing. So it's the same exact line. Nobody's moving anything.
All right, boys, let's get to that Bears-Browns game. Frigid, sub-zero temperatures. Lines hefty. Chicago laying 7 and a hook. Shedeur Sanders coming off a very impressive performance just a week ago. Sal, you got some work to do in man's best bet. We all do. Listen, Joe House right now with a big win a week ago with the Houston Texans. You feel like it's time to go and take a monster swing. That hasn't necessarily worked out, but you got to keep swinging for the fences. We swinging the fences? Browns, home run like it's Albert Bell in 1995?
Yeah, this is a big swing, but this is a confident swing. I'm not closing my eyes for this swing. It's not a check swing. I'm doing it here, JJ. I'm going for the upset here. Browns plus 310. I know the Bears are 9-4, but I think it's very fair to view them as an average team. Like, if you don't believe me, their point differential is -1. A 9-4 team with a -1 point differential, and I'm getting plus 310, fading them with an inferior, I get it, but game Browns team. They really are. And in doing so, I'm taking what I think is the more physical team out of the two in these miserably cold conditions that you mentioned. The Browns sport the two defense in the league, number 2, and the number 1 pass defense in the league. It could be a long day for Caleb, who still lost despite not being sacked last week. I expect him to spend some time on the turf as Myles Garrett pursues that sack record. Brownies 16, Bears 14. Probably should just take the under, but I'm going for the upset here.
Okay, Dream. Sub-zero temperatures. Browns defense pretty darn good. However, they've looked like a different defense when they play at home as opposed to playing on the road. You were going to look to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bears team total over 23.5. And the Bears 9 wins. They've scored 24 or more in 8 of those games. And you look at the Cleveland Browns, they've allowed 24 or more points in 4 out of the last 6 games. And the more important thing here is that you got Shedeur Sanders on the road in bad weather. And we know Shedeur Sanders, he's prone to turn the ball over. So that should create some short fields. And I think the Bears get over this number. I know a lot of people think this Bears team is fraudulent, but I still think there's something that's just not being captured within the market on this team. And I think that something is Ben Johnson. And they have a level of competency which gives them a high floor. And I just think their floor is just so high that they're always going to be right there. So I think they're building something special that, might not materialize this year, but eventually it will. But I'm just going to go over the team total. I'm not going to touch the spread. I think anybody catching the 7.5 with the Browns are probably on the right side, but I think the Bears can score some points here.
Let's get to a very tricky game. A game that I'm telling you point blank, I'm not betting aside. That would be the Baltimore Ravens, who are road favorites at Cincinnati. Joe Burrow with that very odd, to say the least, presser on Wednesday. A whole lot of rumors circulating. Does he want out of Cincinnati? Is he going to pull an Andrew Luck? T. Higgins not going to play for the Baltimore Ravens yet, or for the Cincinnati Bengals against the Baltimore Ravens. But at this point in time, guys, you feel great betting Baltimore. A lot of people liked them a week ago. They let you down in that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. For me, at least, I'm not going anywhere near the side. I'm going to target a Cincinnati Bengal pass catcher. Jersey boy, new dad, Mike Gesicki, who's become a favorite of mine. I feel like I'm betting him every single week. He took care of me last week against Buffalo. 30-plus receiving yards. Hey, Joe Burrow's got to throw the ball to somebody other than Jamar Chase. I'm going to take Gesicki 30-plus receiving yards. Let's parlay that with an anytime touchdown. There's your OMG bet of the week at plus 236. Jersey boy. It's going to be playing some Santa Claus is coming to town. Springsteen rocking and rolling for the holiday season. Let's cash at plus 236. Sal, I know it's not a steal special, but you're feeling one of those, a team to win the first half, team to win the game type of bets, aren't we?
You love this Gesicki. Did you send him a Christmas card this year?
I may have to. He's on the Christmas list this year. Yeah.
Listen, by the way, how great is it that this is an intriguing game, Ravens-Bengals. I don't care where they are in the standings, and it's 55 minutes into the show, and we just mentioning this is like the 7th best on the card. Great Sunday. Anyway, yes, you're right. You mentioned the steal special. Good news, bad news. Bad news is Mike Tomlin has announced that everyone should lay off the Sal Steeler special where they lose the first half but win the game for the foreseeable future. They've outgrown the trend, and they may return to it next year. He's going to keep us posted. The good news is I found another spot for it, and it's in this Ravens-Bengals game. The Ravens don't seem to know how to close out games anymore. And the truth is, they've had trouble for a while now holding leads. Harbaugh, 17 double-digit blown leads is the most since he came into the league as a coach. I think they grab a small lead, the Ravens, after 30 minutes and then blow it to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, who have put up a too little, too late effort for 2025. Joe Cool mounts the comeback. Chase Hall's in one late, and Isaiah Likely is a toe away or a football length away or a missing football move away, however he plays the goal lines from winning it. Ravens, first half, Bengals game. We'll call it the Queen City special, pays plus 850.
House, is this a Ringer 107 play for you with Baltimore?
It is. Simmons and I took the Ravens on the road. We've been watching the way this Ravens team has been playing. It's extremely unimpressive and uninspiring, but they have been undone by the ball bouncing in the wrong direction several times in a row here, several weeks in a row here. And this is, to me, a situation where you have the division rivals, classic division rivals. The Bengals already got theirs, so now the Ravens are going to go get the other side of it. They'll split the season series 1-1. This is just, AFC North math going back, 25, 30 years. The Ravens obviously are playing for the division and the ability to make the playoffs. There still remains gigantic questions around Lamar Jackson and this version of him, but they can give the ball to Mr. Likely, and they can get the ball to Mr. Henry. The Ravens can, and exploit this Cincinnati Bengals defense, and I think they're going to take care of business.
Dream, gut feel. I feel like a lot of sharps are going to bet Baltimore laying the 2.5 today. Is that accurate?
I don't know. I think you're going to have sharps on both sides, but I think I'm with House on this one. I don't like that Joe Burrow came out and said he's not having fun. Like when you hear a football player or a boxer come out and say, I'm not having fun, or, this is going wrong, it just feels like the beginning of the end. Like it felt very Andrew Luck-esque. And I don't like that at all. So I would lean towards the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, that has no bearing on this game. I don't really want to play a side on this one, but my gut feel is that Baltimore gets off the snot here.
Well, I'm always having fun when I'm hanging with you guys on the Ringer Sunday pregame. We call that a seamless transition from your astute host. What can I say? We have so much more coming your way in the next hour. The family meal is still to come. Is there a Buffalo Bill involved in that family meal? A lot more games, a lot more picks. Stay with us.
Alabama, 22-1 to win the whole thing. I know your 4-year-old is delighted about this. They open at Oklahoma and then go on to face the Hoosiers if they win that. I don't mind the odds here. I think if you go on a run like you did in late September to early November, beat up some good teams. Even that Oklahoma game the first time was 23-21, but you doubled their yardage, doubled first downs, and the stupid turnover did you in. But 22-1, pretty good. Sleeping on the Tide, I think.
And honestly, I think it's it's not a favorable draw. There's no favorable draw. But last year, the champion came out of the 8-9 game in the first round. That was Ohio State. Obviously, different animal. That Ohio State team was amazing. I don't know if this Alabama team is. We'll find out. But here's what I know about Alabama. One, they've won a lot of close games, so they're very battle-tested. They're comfortable in that scenario. They can somehow go on the road, win the first one. Then they're in neutral sites the rest of the way. I know this about Alabama. They will not ever be at a disadvantage when it comes to a neutral site environment. They're going to have a lot of fans there. That's for sure. So in the event in which they get through week one, it'll be a tough one. But if they can get that one against an Oklahoma team that has their own challenges, now they get to play the role of the hunter, whereas Indiana is the role of the hunted. And that is a bit of a foreign role for Indiana. And Indiana, I think, is amazing. And that's a great matchup for Indiana against a team that has kind of struggled to find themselves. But in a one-game season, a team with championship pedigree that has been in the mix before, against a team that's never been there before, that has never been at number one, has never been in thin air like this, with all the expectations, and this being your year, that's a heavy weight. It's a heavy burden to carry. And Indiana is traditionally in games like that, they're the underdog and they love the puncher's chance. Well, now the role's on the other side. You get through that one somehow. Now you get a Texas Tech or Oregon team that I think both are excellent football teams,
right,
but they're not last year's Ohio State, not with what I've seen up to this point. So, I mean, I think you got a puncher's chance, and at 22-1, it's a pretty decent price.
I think so, too. Adam, we talked about Ohio State, Indiana, and that game, the Ohio State would be favored in that game. Who would you pick between them? Was it, if your team doesn't make it, do you think it comes down to those two, or is there another mid-tier team there that can come out of this group?
I don't know what the price is on Texas Tech, but I really like their defensive line. That's a pretty good place to start. I don't know if they can somehow win 3 in a row against Indiana.
Almost
Oregon.
10-1 odds. Yeah, 10-1.
Yeah, I'd like it more at 15, in that vicinity. But if you're trying to find some value, I mean, what's the chalk on Ohio State? What, 2.5 to 1? I mean,
Final hour, Ringer Sunday pregame with the Wise Guys, of course, on the FanDuel Sports Network. Check us out streaming on YouTube. John Jastremski, Cousin Sal, Raheem Palmer, and Joe House in house. Despite all of the weather that is across the board here in the NFL, with sub-zero temperatures, with some snow, you have vowed to us that you will not be influenced by weather forecasts, correct?
That's a true story. Well, it's not part of my handicap. I mean, I might be influenced. The bets are in, but not going to talk about it.
I'm proud of you. That is what we call the evolution of the very scholarly Joe House, looking spiffy on this Sunday morning. All right, boys, let's get back to the card. We have the Philadelphia Eagles, who are in absolute free fall. I mean, they are in panic. Down I-95, losing outright to the Chargers. Now they return home to take on one of the worst teams in the NFL. You got to lay 11.5 with this Eagle team. They can't score points, but I understand it because guess what? The Raiders, enough said. House, tell you this. You talk about games I had no interest in betting. This one fit the script, buddy boy. No thanks for me on Raiders and Eagles.
I mean, that makes two of us. I came close to a petty bet on the Raiders because of how awful Jalen Hurts was last week. I couldn't get there, but I do understand my direction is definitely the Raiders. I don't know what the case would be for this Eagles team winning by margin. Tell me the answer to whether or not A.J. Jones is gonna short arm passes over the middle, or A.J. Brown.
A.J. Jones, look at you making up names for us this morning. I love it. Why not?
I mean, this is. I bet A.J. Jones would have caught that ball over the middle. That would have helped him get the first down. A.J. Brown running out of a deep ball that hits him in the hands in the first play of the game. I mean, anyway, the Eagles defense is good. Jalen Carter's not playing. It can be run on, so maybe that's the pathway. Pickett something to play for. Raiders have nothing to lose. I don't know. Bauer's going to get loose a little bit. That's all kind of the rationale for it. But it's fine to stay away. I'll root for the Raiders to cover.
I'm staying away. Raheem, you're not. You're laying the wood.
Yeah, this is another ABCD handicap. Like, the Raiders suck. Like, that's what it comes down
really
to.
do.
Like, if you look
Analysis, the Raiders suck. I love it. We're keeping it simple on the Ringer Sunday pregame. Simple works for him. It works.
Here's the thing. The Raiders have the worst offensive line. So there's a huge mismatch between the Eagles' defensive line and the Raiders' offensive line. They're dead last in sacks taken per game. They're also tied for the most interceptions thrown. So you combine those two, the Eagles are probably going to have some short fields. And then you combine that with the fact that the Raiders have the third worst road record in the NFL this season, and they've lost 5 straight away from Allegiant Stadium by an average of 20 points a game. So I think it doesn't even matter what Jalen Hurts does in this game. As long as he doesn't turn the ball over, the Eagles should be able to win with margin. And I know the Eagles are on a free fall, but this is the spot where if they don't get right here, then we know that they're cooked. But The spot I want to fade the Philadelphia Eagles is in one of those division games. They got 2 games against the Washington Commanders, and I think they have a game. Well, they already played the Giants twice, right? I think so. But they have some division. Yeah, they have some division games coming up, and I think those are the spots where you want to fade the Eagles. I think they play the Bills as well. So there's going to be spots to fade the Eagles. It's not this week against this Raiders team. I mean, Pete Carroll is Larry Holmes status, flabby and sick. He's probably on his way out. We know Geno Smith is cooked, and we know Kenny Pickett, who plays with 2 gloves, he's not the answer. So this is not the spot to fade the Eagles.
Sal, shockingly in Philadelphia, coming off a Super Bowl, there was conversation this week about Jalen Hurts being benched. Yes, we're living in a world where you can go win the Super Bowl, and the following year, the folks in Philadelphia have actually speculated maybe we should go with a different quarterback.
Yeah.
You want to feed off that negative energy for your play on this game, don't you?
Yeah, I do. He seems so out of sync. And I'm not saying bench him forever, but maybe if he takes a quarter off, we see Tanner McKee in there. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. By the way, Raheem is right. Pro Football Focus and Action Network all confirming that the Raiders suck. So this is a trend that's going around here. This is not, he's not on an island here. But yeah, you're right. This is another double-digit spread for the Kenny Pickett revenge game. It looks a lot like a lot of smoke here, but I'm going to go with Hurts to throw an interception. He looked like such a mess last week and really not right for a month. And I love the plus money prop at plus 136. Not to mention the Raiders defense, kind of frisky when they want to be, right? They forced interceptions from 4 of the last 6 quarterbacks they've faced. Herbert, Shador, of course, Lawrence, and Nix, maybe not Hall of Famers, but definitely more in sync with their receivers than Hurts has been. 5 interceptions last 2 games. He throws one up for grabs, hopefully closer to 3 or 4, so my Cowboys can pretend to get back in the race once the night game kicks off. Yeah, cold and snowy, but I understand, House, why you and JJ maybe don't want to talk about the weather because you're on the East Coast. You're getting killed by the weather. Raheem and we're like, wow, 3 degrees. That one sucks to be you and Cleveland, Cincinnati, and all these other places. You don't want to talk about it like if your wife is cheating on you, you don't want to talk about it, right? It's a bad thing, but we should talk about the weather. Sorry.
It's not ideal, House, especially knowing that golf season for me has officially ended in 2025. That's the reality I hit home, seeing the snow kind of trickle down throughout Brooklyn and New York City. It is what it is, House. It was a good run.
It feels like it would be in bad taste for me to make a joke about my wife cheating on me and not being able to play golf. Which one's worse? So I won't make the joke.
Make the joke. Make the joke. Make the joke.
You have the opportunity to plead the 5th. That would be my advice, House. Do not go down that dirty road if indeed Mrs. House is watching the Ringer Sunday pregame. Now, she should be for what it's worth. Carolina and New Orleans, next game we got to get to. Joe House, you are the king of the dog. You hit it outright with the Houston Texans. Are the New Orleans Saints the choice for Week 15?
So let me ask you guys a question because I was going to play the Denver Broncos, but I'm pretty sure we have a rule on this show that you can't play an even money underdog. That doesn't quite count. And the Broncos were sitting, right? So I couldn't do it. And so I had to hold my nose, and I found myself somehow in the NFC South, which is the stinkiest of all the stink divisions in the entire NFL. And looking at, the opportunity here for the Carolina Panthers to continue to assert themselves and try and win that division, the most NFC South thing to do is to go into New Orleans and get their ass beat. They're coming off of a bye. They should be in good shape. They have wins, this Carolina Panthers team, against the Green Bay Packers and the LA Rams this season. That is good. That is very good. But they can lose to anybody. They've already lost to this Saints team. Unit-wise, I like the way that the Saints defense has been playing. They are very quietly inside the top half in some of your advanced metrics, and I think that they are a decent matchup. It's the Bryce Young on the road thing. It's the NFC South thing. The Saints are doing their own thing, going in and playing other division opponents and using that as a benchmark for them for next season. Tyler Shuck is not shucking around out here. He's going to take care of business. I'm on the Saints money line. Let's go ahead and get this done against this Carolina Panthers team that nobody can get their arms around.
House, I give this a full-fledged stamp of approval. I love the Saints in this spot. To me, Carolina, after filling their oats, the last time we saw them, they took down the big bad Los Angeles Rams, walking around town after their bye week, thinking they're the toast of the town. This is a tricky spot going into New Orleans in a division game. And Raheem, I know you are invested, my friend, in the Carolina Panthers to go and win the division. You also are a man of trends. You know what the trend is for the Carolina Panthers when they are a favorite? It's not a particularly good one over these last few years. Can't get on board with Carolina here in this spot. I like the Saints as well.
So I don't really like either side of this game. And you look at the Saints. Last week they have that win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as underdogs, big underdogs. So I don't like to come back on a big underdog twice in a row. But when it comes to Carolina, this game doesn't matter that much. Obviously, you guys know I took the Carolina Panthers 18-1 to win the division about 4 or 5 weeks ago. They're now first place in the division, and they're plus 110 to win the division. But the biggest thing here is that they got 2 games against the Buccaneers. Those are the games that matter, and one of them is next week at home. So I think this could be a potential look-ahead spot. But at the same time, I could see this team being a little bit motivated, knowing that they're first place. After the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost on Thursday, I could see them wanting to bounce back. So I'm going to stay away from this game and just kind of root for my ticket. Obviously, it is hedgeable with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if you want to, hedge it if you tell me.
Wait a minute.
Shucky? Are we getting Shucky?
We are, but Raheem, what do you mean it's hedgeable? Are you doing? Did you hedge or not? You made some.
I didn't hedge yet. I mean,
Not yet. He says hedging is for garners. Come on now. You watch the Ringer Sunday pregame, you know that.
It's an 18-1 ticket. It is probably something that I should probably hedge. But
you said your work. But when you say you give out an 18-1 and then you say, well, my work is done here, that means you have cashed it and made money, right? Like you've cashed on the value of it. I
cashed on the value. I mean, I feel like my work is done from that sense, but I mean, I got a week to decide if I want to.
All right, you got to get some money back here. Don't do what I'm doing here. That's not going to get you money. This is my OMG. Yes, Shuck, what a dumb bet this is. But you know what? These teams thrive off of dumb results. The Saints can hang with Carolina. They beat them on the road by double digits early in the year. And Tyler Shuck takes off a lot. 20 rushes over the last 3 games. He scored twice versus Tampa last week, so it's not likely to happen again. But 75-1 odds. 75. We've had some luck on this show with 2+ touchdown props. Gainwell was the best of the year. Joe House had that, right? Almost 50-1 there. I had Dart that paid 18-1. You've had Christian Watson. If you pick the right guy, it's a nice little bet. So I'm going to do it again with the Saints quarterback to run a couple in. And if you don't like it, go shuck yourself, right, House? That's how we're doing it, 75-1.
Go shuck yourself. Let's go.
Go shuck yourself, indeed. All right, speaking of a game where you could be shucking yourself, Joe House's Washington Commanders, 2.5-point road dogs against the 2-win New York Football Giants. It is hard to believe the Giants, who have 2 wins on the year, are favorites against anyone. And you know what I'm about to do? Put together an SGP where the Giants go and take care of business. To me, Washington is going to get up for a couple of games. Maybe it's the Cowboy game. Maybe it's against the Philadelphia Eagles. In terrible, sloppy, wet conditions in MetLife Stadium, I do not think they're up to the challenge. Let's take the Giants on the money line. Then we're going to take Marcus Mariota, who's going to run around a little bit in this game, 25+ rushing yards. Then we're going to take Deebo Samuel, 40+ receiving yards, and Wendell Robinson, who has become Jackson Dart and Jameis Winston's favorite target, 5+ receptions. This 4-leg SGP, a little under 6-1. Need a little New York juice. These games stink. Got to have some action somehow, some way. Sal, I have action. You, sir, do not.
Yeah, I don't think you got to have some action. I think this is a rat line. You can make a case for the Giants being favored or Washington being favored. No one cares. And here's how much no one cares. The fans of both teams themselves don't want the starting quarterbacks playing. Everyone's so precious. Daniels is out anyway. Dart versus Mariota. Throw all the models and power rankings aside. Both these teams are shells of themselves. We could skip it. We could certainly skip betting this one. Stay away from the rat zone. There's 13, 14 other games here.
Now, you're not going to skip it, though, Joe House, because you want to fade your beloved team.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I certainly can envision a scenario where Washington wins this game outright, but gives up over 24.5 points, which is something they've done 7 of the last 8 weeks, and something that by the advanced metrics, suggests that they're quite capable of. They're in the bottom 3 in all kinds of different metrics that are supportive of the approach that the Bills take. This Washington defense, one of the worst in the NFL, and you can get this 24.5 at plus money, plus 106 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. It was just an opportunity to step in, have a little something on the game. I'll still be rooting for Washington. Marcus Mariota, if you look at his numbers across the board, advanced metrics wise, he's pretty solidly in the top half of the NFL. So he can move the ball. If we see Chris Rodriguez get a bunch of touches for Washington, really think that this Washington offense could score. So this might, under the radar, be a little bit of a shootout kind of game. Giants over 24.5. No problem with that.
Boys, I can't believe it's taken an hour plus to get to this game. But you can make the argument. This is the most fascinating storyline of Week 15.
Yeah.
The return of Grandpa Phillip Rivers. That's right. Grandpa Phillip Rivers, who the last time we saw him on a football field, it was 2021. It was the COVID season. The Indianapolis Colts were taking on the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, he's back. And he's going to be under center as the Colts go to Seattle to take on one of the best defenses in the league in one of the best home field environments in the league. What do you got, Grandpa? Raheem, you're not a grandpa, but you got to play on this game.
Yes, I think we'll know very quickly what this game is and what Phillip Rivers is. So for the 3rd week in a row, I'm going to do this, and we've hit the last 2 weeks. We're going to go with the Seattle Seahawks first half minus 12.5 plus 200 on the adjusted spread. I think Phillip Rivers, he hasn't had a lot of practice time. He hasn't played football in 5 years or 4 years, whatever it is. He hasn't played football in a really long time. He's like 280 pounds at this point in time. So this could get really, really ugly. So that's my play on this. But one thing I want to add to that, I like Phillip Rivers' longest pass under 28.5 yards. He didn't have, his arm strength wasn't really there 4 years ago. I don't know what it's going to be today against the Seattle Seahawks. But I do think you can kind of take the Cousin Sal approach, the same way he approaches the NBA postseason, where you kind of do an adjusted spread on both sides. I think you can do this adjusted spread, and this is my oh my God bet. But I also think maybe, just maybe, you put something down on the Colts money line in case they make history. So I'm going to do my Seattle Seahawks adjusted spread, but don't be surprised if this kind of goes the opposite way, because I think there's a fair amount of variance in this game.
I can't wait to watch it. Sal, because you're going to be so dialed in, you felt it was appropriate to get on board with an SGP. Kind of tough from an Indianapolis perspective, but you kind of found a way. Make the case.
Well, these games with the ballooned up double-digit spreads, you might want to try to SGP your way to the window. Just pick a narrative and start building. This is what we usually do. Seahawks win easily and Phillip Rivers struggles. That's a narrative. Here's what that could look like. Adjusted to minus 6.5 for Seattle, so there's no shenanigans at the end. Seattle's won by 6 or more in 7 of their last 8. JSN to score. This legend waltzes into the end zone every week, it seems. 9 touchdowns on the year. He's gunning for the Offensive Player of the Year award. Let's give Phillip Rivers some credit. Maybe he could find the tight end, and that's what all the first-time starters, whether they're 24 or 44, seem to do. Check down to the tight end. He's got a good one. Tyler Warren, 5+ grabs. He's done this in a half dozen games this year. Schultz, Ott, and McBride, all tight ends who've had good games against Seattle. So Seattle minus 6.5, JSN to score. Warren, 5+ grabs, pays plus 394. Who loses that, Raheem? No one. You're speechless. That's got to win. Come on.
Yeah, and nobody's losing this. I like this one.
All right.
We couldn't continue the proceedings unless you were going to jump on board. Phillip Rivers, who I loved betting on as an underdog. I loved fading him as a favorite. I feel like it was a tradition unlike any other. The Chargers be laying points at home. I'd go against them. It'd be advantageous. He'd be on the road, getting his 5.5 for his 6. And Phillip Rivers is a great quarterback to bet on. He's back. You want to bet on him. How are we doing, Sal?
I think the game sets up exactly the way that Dream established. And we just watched this game, honestly, when Minnesota came to town with a quarterback that, basically came off of a couch. Now, I know that Mr. Brosmer had been on the team for a little bit, so I'm glad for that, but he was not ready for what that Seattle experience was going to be like. And the same is true of Mr. Phillip Rivers. So I endorse all of Dream's plays. I like Cousin Sal's SGP. And it's already been mentioned, the longest pass is an under 28.5 yards, but I did see maybe out there somewhere in the books that somebody was accepting bets on would Phillip Rivers' longest pass go longer than 10.5 yards. That's beating the number of kids that he has.
Oh, wow.
Will he have a pass that goes over 10.5? So I like over 10.5, under 28.5 for Phillip Rivers this week.
Let's have some fun. I know this is going to end up being idiotic because I'm betting on a quarterback who hasn't played in 4 years. Take me on the ride. I'm having a little bit of fun. It's not one of my favorite plays of the week. It's not one of my biggest wagers of the week, but I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts plus 13.5 because why not? I want to root Phillip Rivers. The story's too outrageous. It's just too much fun. Okay, we have a new leader in the Wise Wager standings. That would be our pal Raheem Palmer. That push right now, significant as far as tiebreakers are concerned. It's like the Packers and the Cowboys having that tie early in the year. Hey, you don't got to apologize for it, Raheem. First place is first place. We have the Cardinals and the Texans. The Texans, for my money, have the best defense the league has to offer. The Cardinals look like a dead carcass, yet Jacoby Brissett puts up passing yards. Who do we like in this game? It happens to be your Wise Wager. What's it going to be?
Well, let's be clear. That push should be a win. But we all know 5 minutes before I was giving out my pick, the line moved from 2.5 to 3,
yes.
And I pushed. But that's
Raheem never manipulates lines, so yes, you're right. Exactly. You're owed one. Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. We're going to go with the Houston Texans minus 9.5, minus 122. Look. Houston Texans are first in EPA per play, third in success rate. They're holding teams to 16 points a game. They're basically the 2000s Ravens. The Texans have held the Bills, the Colts, the Chiefs, and the Rams to a combined 59 points. That's the best quarterbacks in this league. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. You're talking about Matthew Stafford, and then Daniel Jones, who was playing incredible in that Colts offense. They held them to 59 combined points. You're talking about 14 points a game. So this Texans defense is the real deal. And the Cardinals, they're struggling right now on both sides of the ball. They got injuries on both sides of the ball. They've lost 10 out of their last 11 games. And they're allowing 28.5 points over that stretch. They have the worst point differential in the league over the last 5 games. So if you ask me, the Texans go out there, they might score 24 to 30 points. Cardinals might score 6. So give me the Houston Texans minus 9.5. It's the third week in a row I'm taking the Houston Texans. I told you guys I'm high on the Houston Texans. I think they might be the best team in the AFC. That's who I'm riding with. That's my Wise Wager.
Well, I appreciate the loyalty because you know what, Raheem? When it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sal, because Raheem gets to go in an alternate 9.5, can I get the money line at minus 118 for Green Bay and Detroit or Green Bay and Denver if we get there? I want that Wise guy. If Green Bay wins by 1, I'm declaring a victory. I'm letting everybody know. I'm letting everybody know now. I need them. I'm trying to fight to a winning season here. I'm just letting everybody know.
Just everybody take whatever you want, whatever line you want. You can rob the Rite Aid for less than $500. You're not going to get prosecuted. You're fine. Whatever everybody wants to do. I'm with Raheem though here. I don't see the Texans blowing this, but I am going to take a player prop Brissett under 234.5 yards. I try to make for a case for him, maybe doing good things in garbage time, but I couldn't, mainly because the Texans games, they don't contain a lot of garbage time. Since their offense is somewhat limited, these games are close, and their number one defense, as Raheem brought up, is forced to work for 4 quarters. 234.5. Brissett might need 6 quarters to put up that kind of yardage. Mahomes, Nix, Lawrence, Mack, and Daniel, the Jones brothers, were all under 200 against the Texans defense. Darnold and Mayfield were around 215. No big plays allowed by this secondary, who allows 172 a game. I just don't see a 60-yard cushion in there. Brissett under 234.5.
Boys, Jets, Jets. House, believe it or not, took the Jets a week ago against the Miami Dolphins. That game was over from Jump Street. Tyrod Taylor got hurt. Brady Cook is the quarterback. Yes, Brady Cook at quarterback for the Jets. They're getting 13.5. The total's at 41.5. You know what's crazy, House? This is the sort of spot that you kind of want to take the Jets because who wants to lay 13.5 with Trevor Lawrence? But after watching Brady Cook Sunday against the Miami Dolphins, I can't do it. I can't do it.
He wasn't ready. I mean, he didn't practice with the first team all week. I mean, you know what the difference is with that, right? We saw the same thing with Shedeur Sanders. We got Brady Cook a whole week this week. The crazy thing with this number, the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars were favored by 11 points or more in an NFL football game was the year 2007. Was Dabbundo born then? Was our boy?
We'll have to get a fact check on that when he joins the show. It's debatable. I'm not sure.
A long time ago. Yeah. So I'm not laying 13.5. Just on principle.
Sal, there are some monster favorites.
Yeah.
And don't you get the sense one of them is not going to cooperate here?
I do. I think it's the one game we haven't gotten to yet, possibly because, believe it or not, Cam Ward's the best of those quarterbacks we've seen going against these big numbers. But really, honestly, with this one, the only thing that can prevent the Jags from winning 6 in a row is if the name of the opposing quarterback is Brady Cook. Like, I wasn't impressed with him at Missouri. He threw 11 touchdowns his senior year. He's not a running quarterback. I'm not sure why he's on a roster. I guess because Phil Rivers can't play for 2 teams. Is that why it is? So the Jags could win this 26-10, but do they get that many? Who knows? I'll play the other 14 games on the board.
All right, we have one more game to get to before we hit the family meal. The Tennessee Titans, fresh off a win. It seems weird putting that in a sentence. They're a 12.5-point underdog against Brock Purdy, the super well-coached San Francisco 49ers. House, we need one more SGP. You decided the San Francisco 49ers and the Tennessee Titans would be your choice. House is muted, right?
What happened?
Second. Hey.
There we go. What you hit the cough button on us?
I mean, who knows? Anything's possible here. Look, I bet this game. I wanted to have something on it because I thought we were faced with an existential crisis, which is if nobody bets on this game and nobody watches this game, does this game exist? Well, I went ahead and did my part for NFL Nation. I've got a little 4-legger here. It's the Titans and the Niners over 44.5 points. Christian McCaffrey for an anytime touchdown. Kimray DK over 3.5 total receptions, and Tyjae Spears over 21.5 receiving yards. I'll do the 2 Titans that I'm betting on to move the ball a little bit. First, Spears is getting targets out of the backfield, has a couple consecutive weeks of getting those looks and getting this yardage. DK is in this mix. He is the go-to for Ward over the last 3 weeks, both on targets and catches. McCaffrey anytime touchdown against the defense in the Tennessee Titans that gives up the most rushing touchdowns to anybody in the league. And I think this is a sneaky over. I do like San Francisco getting its points, no problem at all. But Tennessee is trending in the right direction scoring-wise. So those are the 4 legs right now available on the FanDuel Sportsbook at plus 559. That's a good price. Let's go get one.
All right, good luck on that, House. Raheem, he has an over. You think the Niners are going to have a monster offensive day?
Yeah, I'm going with the 49ers team total over 28.5. You look at the last 6 Titans games, they've allowed over this in 5 out of their last 6. The only team that didn't go over were the Texans with Davis Mills. So that tells you the state of this defense currently. So I think the 49ers, they go out there, lay the smack down and score whatever. They can name their score at this point in time. So maybe some alternate overs might do the trick. But I think Shanahan might shut this thing down in the 4th quarter or so.
Sal, we're going to get to the family meal in a little bit, but George Kittle, a guy going to feast in this game?
Yeah, I think Raheem's right. You want one of these big favorites to go down, but it's I actually like the Titans better if they hadn't. What they're going to win 2 in a row? Now it's not going to happen. So yeah, Kittle 6 or more receptions. He's done this in 7 of his last 9 home games. They're probably going to baby McCaffrey a little because he's a little dinged up. Means more touches for the rest of the 49ers core offensive pieces. He's already picking up the bulk of the assignments. 25 catches in his last 4. This one could cash early. Give me Kittle over 5.5 grabs at plus 116.
You know, a week ago, I thought I was the one to squander the family meal. And Sal, as you wisely pointed out, all of it, you pointed this out in our production meeting. If I was the one to screw up the family meal, I would have known because you would have let me know.
You would have heard about it. We would have put it up in skywriting over your apartment. We wouldn't have missed it. I promise.
It'd be like the equivalent of Surrender Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. It would be shame on you, JJ. So I didn't hit my anytime touchdown, but thankfully we didn't go 3 for 4. This week, to hell with 3 for 4. How about 4 for 4? How about some feasting going into the holiday season? Let's not waste any more time. Week 15, hit the music. Family meal time. Sal, you're looking at the Lion-Ram game, and maybe the best receiver in the NFL will go and score a touchdown.
Yeah, and I've done all right with these. I've hit 3 of the last 4 touchdown props. I couldn't, before that, I couldn't hit a first down prop, honestly. But I looked up Puka Nacua. That's my pick at minus 135. I'm throwing some shave ice into the family meal. He's got some Polynesian, Samoan, Hawaiian background, so let's celebrate it. It's shave ice, not shaved ice, if you've ever been there. Back on track with touchdowns. Last week he had 2 against the Cardinals. The Lions have fallen victim to touchdown passes 26 times. Only 3 teams are worse in that department. We talked about how there are 3 defenders out in the secondary. Puka makes him pay. Shave ice for all. Let's nail 4, JJ, and amass some holiday scratch here.
Now, House, a week ago, this guy should have scored a game-winning touchdown. He didn't because the officials got involved. That happens to feature a certain tight end in the Raven-Bengal game.
Yeah, this guy keeps having the ball in the end zone and not turning into touchdowns. I feel like it's likely that his luck is going to change. Isaiah Likely plus 230 for an anytime touchdown. He is seeing red zone targets, and this is a great price against this Bengals defense that tried to give up a touchdown to him on Thanksgiving. The most generous defense to opposing tight ends by a long shot. Both last week, both Dalton Kincaid and Jackson Hawes scored touchdowns. Those were the 14th and 15th tight end touchdowns allowed on the season. Likely gets the red zone targets. He had 3 last week, 95 yards catching. Let's get him across the goal line here, plus 230.
All right, Raheem.
Let's go with Kyle Monangai, plus 155. He's had 5 touchdowns in 7 weeks. Up until last week, he had a 4-game touchdown streak. Got broken against Green Bay. But you look at the Browns. Tony Pollard had 161 rushing yards with 2 scores last week. Then Kyle Monangai, who's getting more touches than Swift at this point, is going to get into the end zone.
Guys, you know I love the Buffalo Bills. He scored last week. It's December. It's snowing in New England. Josh Allen, he's going to find pay dirt. It's basically an even money bet. I love this family meal. Let's take a look one more time at what the wise guys are rolling with for yours truly. It's Josh Allen to score a touchdown. It's Mr. Monangai for Raheem at plus 155. Redemption for Isaiah Likely at plus 230. And Sal rolling with Puka Nacua at minus 135. That family meal, a little over 25 to 1. Come on, we need a little extra loot this holiday season. Let's bring it in. Okay, we have a Podfather text. Oh, baby. The 13-point tease. It is back, Sally boy. It is back, House. I didn't know what the text said. Jack Wilson just brought it to my attention. Sal, who screws this up? Jacksonville minus 1. Over Buffalo, New England, 36.5. Seattle, Indianapolis, Seattle, under 54.5. Who screws it up?
Oh, man. There's so many big favorites to put on 13.5. The Seattle could be 38-3. Is that falling there? What was? Oh, he wins that, right? Now
He would win that. He's
you know
got
what?
under 54
He
and a half.
screwed it up. He screwed it up by going public with it. None of the teams. Otherwise, it's a winner.
Haas, what leg would scare you the most?
Jacksonville.
I agree. I totally agree.
Just because they're Jacksonville. I mean, there's no case to be made for the Jets going down there and beating them. They are playing hard. They're trying. I have no idea who this quarterback is, but that would be the one.
Yeah, that's definitely the one. I don't think any of the other ones are going to blow it.
That said, I am rooting hard for Phillip Rivers, and I'm rooting hard for the Colts to go and cover 13.5. Sal, you'll be back with Simmons later on this evening. Enjoy the Cowboys. Hopefully, goodwill and success for your team and my team for Week 15, okay?
Let's win this parlay here. Well, it shouldn't be this hard. I'm putting it in 20-1, this family meal. Let's go get it. Now I'm going to refresh to see if the Mets made any more bad news.
We'll see about that. Coming up, our guy, Indianapolis Colts fan, Anthony Dabbundo, ineligible from the Wise Wager Trophy, but he's got all sorts of plays coming up on the Ringer Sunday pregame.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, does any quarterback, as long as we're talking about quarterbacks, does anyone stand out to you as the one ready to take snaps for your beloved former New York Jets, or would you not wish that on anyone?
Well, as a Jets fan, it's funny how you become a Jets fan and you're just such a glutton for punishment. But such is life. It's funny how us Jets fans kind of all stick together too. It's like half our crew's from the New York area, Long Island area, and they're all Jets fans. We got some Patriot fans, a bunch of folks from Boston and New England, but us Jets fans, like, we just love it. We can't help but be miserable. But
my dad was a season ticket holder forever. I would go with him to Shea Stadium, not only the Meadowlands, but Shea Stadium to watch Richard Todd and the Jets. Just those teams were awful. But yeah, I mean, do you want Mendoza or Dante Moore on that team next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mendoza and Dante Moore. There's not a quarterback that's like a slam dunk in this class. Right. They all come with question marks. They all come with some concerns. I've been impressed with Mendoza. I really have. I think he's a great player, but I am a little concerned about his readiness at the moment. I think it'd be helpful for a redshirt year in a perfect world, but as you know, how quickly Fireman Ed will start leading the booze, and how quickly they'll thrust him into the lineup unnecessarily. Because
what do you mean booze? BOOZE or BOO? Which either way, I guess. Yeah.
I think in order to accelerate the BOOS, BOOZE can certainly help in that matter for sure. And as a Jets fan, Sundays can at times be gluttonous, but that's just the way it goes. Look, I'll say this. I think there's a lot of guys that are really, really solid. I just am concerned about the long-term upside. I think Dante Moore probably has the highest ceiling of this group, but there have been times where he showed a little bit of youth this year, and I do think the pass rush does affect him a little bit. It'd be helpful probably to get one more year in college. I don't know if he will. I don't know if he won't, but another year in college, just kind of learn how to move in the pocket, learn how to negotiate the rush, because so much in the NFL is about moving and staying alive as a thrower. I think he could stand to have another year. I think Fernando Mendoza is similar. I think Fernando Mendoza is very comfortable, very poised. I like that part of his game. There are a couple misses from time to time, but he can drive into some tight windows and has shown that from time to time as well. I also think he's got great wideouts too at Indiana that are very underrated, and they do a really good job of going up and making those contested.
Home stretch, Ringer Sunday pregame, John Jastremski, Joe House, Raheem Palmer, and we welcome in Anthony Dabbundo. Dabbundo, because of the Phillip Rivers news, no Seahawk hat, obviously, but where is that sniffy Indianapolis Colts jacket? You ditched it? It's freezing cold outside.
Look, we brought it out because the team was doing well, but it has not served as well in the last month or so, and so I've decided that I need to switch it up. We're going completely Logoless, no team supporting today. I'm just wearing a basic gray shirt, supporting the Colts as a fan today, not as a bettor. Would not bet the Colts, but excited for Week 15. I'm also in the district. Finally got to meet the Honorable Joe House last night at dinner. We had a great time, and then shout out to House for being a great.
Oh, hold on a second. I did not know you guys went out to dinner. House, what was on the menu?
I was sitting on it. Look, Basic Anthony might be basic for this show, but not basic in real life. We had a tremendous time with our own beloved Danny Heifetz here in the nation's capital. We were up at this tremendous restaurant in the Columbia Heights restaurant district called Queen's English, Hong Kong style Chinese. We just sat, we sampled, we enjoyed each other's company, had a little hot tea together, as gentlemen will do. And here we are ready for winning picks.
That's what I'm talking about now.
We need some pictures. I know y'all ate good.
Seriously, we could have used some pictures. Dabbundo, was there a nightcap with Joe House and Denny Heifetz after the meal?
There was not. I know House is still fighting
I'm
a cold.
on the mend.
Oh, you're recovering. Fair.
Yeah.
We don't want wounded
Heifetz
House.
had
I
a
get
white
that.
elephant. I had a friend doing a DJ set at a club, so kind of was all over. We had to go our different ways.
Go.
It was a lovely time.
Look at Dabbundo. Hip, cool, DJ set, the whole
not
vibe.
basic.
I absolutely love it. Dabbundo, I want to go on the ride today with Phillip Rivers. I know it's probably terrible from a betting standpoint. Like, I don't advise anybody to go and do this, but I want to root for Grandpa. It's way too many points. Maybe can I at least get you to go and maybe make the case that the Colts could cover this number?
I don't even know how you begin to price this game. Like, where do you rate Phillip Rivers? It's kind of an impossible question. I mean, the look-ahead line was 3.5, 4. Is it a 10-point adjustment from Daniel Jones on half a leg?
It might be. We don't know.
To Phillip? We don't know. You could convince me of anything. It's kind of like what Raheem said, where he's like, well, Phil Rivers could come out and he could do some dink and dunk and he could make this offense work. Or by the first drive, he could get sacked twice, killed, and you're wondering why on earth he came out of retirement, delayed his potential Hall of Fame induction, and is getting subject to what is essentially elder abuse. So really, anything's on the table. As a fan, I'm kind of excited. Season's over anyway. Why not try this?
It's must-see TV for sure. Okay. Wise wager. I saw your pick. I love it. I gave it a full-fledged endorsement at the start of the show. It's one of my biggest bets of the day. Buffalo at New England. AD, this line is climbing. You see a 1.5 on the bottom of our screen. It's 2.5 across the board on the FanDuel Sportsbook and on all the markets. You still get 1.5 for the number. You're in alignment with yours truly. You love the Buffalo Bills here.
Yeah, I think there's two big things kind of happening in this game right now. The first one being that I'm a little worried about New England's red zone offense. It's been a problem over the last few weeks, especially since Campbell got hurt. They haven't been able to run the ball in tight spaces, and so they've been reliant on a lot of Drake-made deep passing to make their offense work. But when they get in those condensed red zone areas, they're just not as efficient. They're 24th in red zone efficiency this year, and it hasn't mattered all that much because they played a lot of bad teams, and they're just over-talenting and getting by with that. But I feel like this is the kind of matchup where Josh Allen is a weapon in the red zone versus the Patriots not quite being as good in the red zone will be the difference in the game. That and also the New England run defense, the vaunted New England run defense, which was so good the first half of the season. The last 3 or 4 weeks, they're bottom 5 rushing success rate allowed. They've had some injuries. I think some teams have figured some things out against them running the ball. So I think the Bills will play some classic Josh Allen, ball control, efficiency. Won't be flashy, but it'll be enough for them offensively to get the win here. So I don't know what we're grading it at for the contest.
1.5
for the
is
wise
fine.
wager.
It's
1.5.
acceptable.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Buffalo
1.5
to
is
win
acceptable.
today.
Now, any concern, AD, with the Christian Benford injury? We know what a factor he is for the Buffalo Bills. Had the game-changing play a week ago against Cincinnati. He's out for this game. That scare you at all?
Certainly. And Heifetz talked about this on the Friday show. He likes a lot of Diggs props. Just the idea that they're going to feed Diggs. Diggs was incredibly successful and efficient and explosive in the first meeting between these two teams way back in September on that Sunday night game. So, yes, that will be a problem. Certainly, Drake May, one of the best downfield passers in the league. That's probably the biggest advantage New England has in this game because the Bills' defense at the second and third level has not been good this year. But I'm still going to trust our Bills to get this win on the road.
Now, House, we know you are partnered with a diehard New England Patriot fan. You took the Bucs, I want to say a few weeks ago, in one of those Ringer 107 plays. New England won the game outright. Was this a situation where you both liked Buffalo, but because of the loyalty to New England, you just weren't allowed to do it? How did that shake out for the 107?
No, I don't even recall us having much of a conversation about the side. I don't have a strong conviction in favor of Buffalo. It runs exactly to what Dabbundo just described. Like, it's Josh Allen just wins the football game, and that's fine. But there was no real issue with Simmons. I genuinely don't have a strong feel for either side.
Okay, it was a stay away for you. Fair enough. All right. This is my wise wager, AD, and I know you're going to like it because in addition to the Colts, in addition to the Seahawks, you love your cheeseheads. You love your Green Bay Packers. The Packers, road favorites in Denver, taking on the Broncos. Totals at 42.5. You have a play for this game. How do you shake this one out?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the under 42.5. I think both of these defenses are kind of well equipped to make life difficult for the other offense. You know, the main first thing here is that Green Bay offensively still does live on explosives. Like, they need the big plays. We know when Jordan Love is at his best, he's throwing the ball down the field. He's being successful there. I don't know if you're going to be able to do that against this Denver defense. Denver is number 1 in the league in explosive play rate allowed. Their secondary is so good. It is the strength of this team. And you can pick on Green Bay or Denver's defense over the middle. But without Tucker Kraft, I do think this is the kind of game where they might miss a Kraft because of the ability to pick on the Denver linebackers in coverage. They won't be able to do that to the same level. And then on the other side, I wonder about Bo Nix, as usual. But against a zone defense that takes away big plays, Bo has had some success pushing the ball down the field this year, but they have never been a consistently methodical offense. It's always been kind of stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. You're not really sure what you're going to get on a down-to-down basis, and that's a problem because Green Bay tackles well, and they take away big plays. So I think this game gets played close. I feel like it's a field goal game either way. Hopefully for our Packer futures that they can come through, but this game will ultimately be decided. Green Bay's just a little more consistent down-to-down.
Okay, if you had to make a play on this game, would you side with my wise wager of Green Bay, or would you side with Mr. House and Mr. Raheem on potentially playing the Broncos?
I would probably lean with Green Bay, although I think Denver's an excellent teaser leg if you're interested in that. Low total, at home, +2, 2.5. Would be a good teaser leg if you can find a team you want to pair them with.
House, have you done that already?
Yes, I have. I have it. I have it. I played it. Goes without saying. The who's up to 6 right now? Somebody.
Dallas.
Huh? Dallas.
Cowboys.
Yes. That's Dallas and Denver was an early week teaser for me.
Okay, AD, you said you didn't want to play the side for your Colts and the Seahawks. The line is at 13.5. The total is at 42.5. You did identify a prop though that makes a ton of sense here. What's the prop we're looking at?
Yeah, let's go Josh Downs, over 2.5 receptions. I mean, this is not the first time that the Colts have started a very old quarterback in the last 2 years. I mean, last year when Anthony Richardson went down with an injury in the Pittsburgh game, and he's had many of those, Joe Flacco came in. And Joe Flacco, similarly old, similarly immobile, similarly like great brain, but not really sure if he physically has the tools anymore to be an effective quarterback. A statue quarterback standing in the pocket, and you immediately saw Josh Downs' target share, his ability to get open underneath was the offense. That was how the Colts made this work. There was some of the deep ball stuff from Flacco was still there, but really it was point and shoot offense. And so I think Steichen, if you're redesigning a game plan and trying to make this work, it probably features a little less Alec Pierce and a little more Josh Downs. So I like Josh Downs over 2.5 receptions. If the Colts are running bubble screens, if they're running quick slants, if they're running little outbreakers, Downs is their little kind of player that really effectively utilizes those areas. So I'm going to go with the Downs over 2.5, -120. I think that's the best way to play this one.
Okay, I like it, AD. Can I throw a counter prop your way? Michael Pittman played with Phillip Rivers. It's actually hard to believe there are a decent amount of Indianapolis Colts players who were on the team 4 or 5 years ago, considering how much turnover there is roster-wise across the board in the NFL. Well, Michael Pittman was one of those guys that had some chemistry with the old quarterback. Is he a guy that we should target because of that?
Potentially. I mean, I think certainly he also benefits. I don't want to get too gung-ho on all of the Colts receivers going over. Like, I feel like they might only complete like 15 to 16 passes. So if that's the case, you don't want too many overs. I like Downs more than Pittman. But yeah, I mean, if you go back, and actually Rivers commented on this week, the first touchdown Michael Pittman ever caught was thrown by Phillip Rivers. So these guys, Jonathan Taylor, Quentin Nelson, they've all been in the building with Phil before. But granted, 5 years is a long time.
Our folks who are watching on YouTube, AD, have a question for you. Are you hanging with Sam Morrill and Lewis Black and any of the great comedians with the Comedy Cellar vibe that you got going on at home?
I'm trying to pull off a Carmen Sandiego, male version. I'm just going to show up in a different background every week. And I'm not going to say where I'm broadcasting from. But this week I am in D.C. at a friend's house. He has like a little lair that he works from home from. And it's pretty cool. It's got like all this
I was going to say, I love the exposed brick. That is very Brooklyn. I wanted exposed brick in my apartment. I couldn't afford it,
Right. Well, they got a nice place. A little Adams Morgan if you're into the D.C. scene.
Oh, beautiful neighborhood. House
nice
knows.
neighborhood.
When you know, you know.
So that's where I am this week. But, maybe next week I'll have to find a new place to record from. Who knows where it'll be next.
And by the way, since I saw you on Monday, what is the grade you're giving the Joe's Pizza that you chowed down with your boy, freezing our asses off, eating it outside because the place was overflowing with people?
There's a B+.
I agree. It's not my favorite slice in New York, but it's a good one.
It was a convenient slice.
Convenient considering I had to go to a hospital to congratulate my sister
Uncle
on her
JJ.
new
We got
arrival.
Uncle Sal, we got Uncle House, and now we got Uncle JJ.
That's right. I joined the club. Okay. Ravens Bengals. I don't want to go anywhere near this game from a side perspective. I think the right side is Baltimore. That said, I'm done with Baltimore. I don't trust them. I'm not laying points with them. I do like a couple of player props here. I gave out Mike Gesicki. You, sir, are going to focus on maybe another tight end or two, and you're looking at some potential anytime touchdown parlays here. Is that what we're thinking, AD?
Yeah, I mean, you can get crazy with it. I mean, we joked about this last week. We had the parlay of Knox and Kincaid against the Bengals. Kincaid got there. Knox had the ball in his hands as he was sliding out of bounds, but there was just the slightest bobble. When they showed the replay, my heart dropped because we did not hit the parlay. But I think you go back to the well. I mean, we watched this 2 weeks ago. These two teams played. Mark Andrews had 90-plus yards. Isaiah Likely should have scored, but didn't because he fumbled on the goal line. It's been a continuing trend all year that the tight ends have murdered Cincinnati. And I know House talked about this in the family meal section. I feel like everybody I know who does gambling content or who talks about gambling or who gambles has talked about this Isaiah Likely bet. So like maybe it is mushed at this point. It might be mushed, but I'm going to ride it anyway. It's plus 230 on Isaiah Likely. It's come down a bit. And then if you want to get really crazy, JJ, Charlie Kohler, 10-1. He did score against the Dolphins, another team who's famously struggled to cover tight ends. He's been in the mix. I'm going to go with the tight ends again against the Bengals. Just the way I've been betting all year. It's been a fun endeavor for the most part, except when Likely fumbled on the 1 yard line.
House, you gave out Likely as your anytime for the family meal, did you not?
Yes, I did.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that. I'm parlaying it with my guy Mike Gesicki. I'll let you guys know what that pays out momentarily because I am on Mr. Gesicki to go and get a touchdown for the second straight week. I got a bone to pick with you, AD. I'm going to tell you what it is. I saw your picks this week. They looked actually really, really good until I got to this one. Dude, you got to quit. You got to quit the Raiders.
Why not? They won last week.
We got away with highway freaking robbery a week ago with the Raiders. That is when you say, you know what? This is where I'm going out on a high note. This is where I'm pulling a Costanza. I'm walking off the set. I'm pulling the ultimate victory lap because this team's got to go to Philadelphia now. Kenny Pickett. You feel good about this?
Feel good is a strong phrase that I probably wouldn't necessarily agree with, but yeah, I do. I mean, you could say the same thing about Philly. I mean, what do they deserve to be laying 11.5 right now, given the current state of their situation? There is some snow on the ground. I know the snow is over, but I'm not sure if the field's going to be totally cleared for this game. So that'll be something to watch with that game in Philly today. But ultimately, this comes down to, yes, I know that the Raiders had the cover of the year, the heist of the century. If you bet the Raiders last week, you would be a wise man to then walk away a winner and take your winnings and be very happy. But here's the thing. As bad as the Raiders have been, I don't think it can get worse with their passing offense going from Geno to Kenny. Like the loss of Geno Smith, and this is honestly, it goes back to kind of why I like Seattle this year. It's like, oh, they're losing Geno Smith, but like they weren't a good pass offense last year. Well, the Raiders lose Geno Smith to injury, but they're not a good pass offense. And so can Kenny give them some different things, some movement, some quick passing, keep the chains moving? And then really the main part of this handicap is just not really trusting the Philly offense. I mean, they've been so inconsistent, down to down, week to week. They've had 3 above average performances all year. So I'm not ready to feel great about this Philly offense at all. To get margin, to lay double digits. I mean, you look at who else is laying double digits this week. All of them have better offenses at this point than the Eagles do, down to down. So give me the Raiders. It's ugly. It's gross. It's grotesque, really. But I'm taking it plus 11.5.
Raheem, you think the Eagle defense can cover this game themselves?
I do, but I got a question for Dabbundo. Do you sprinkle something on the money line?
I have not because I'm a coward, but I really should.
With that rationale and logic, you're absolutely right. You should. Come on, you got 5 minutes.
All right, I'll fire it up.
Attaboy, I'm proud of you.
What do we got? What are the odds on this here?
I think if the Raiders cover this game, I think they'll probably be in position to win.
And the Eagle futility on offense continues. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. All right, let's take a look at the Ringer 107 going into Week 15, where you have a hotly contested race between the Ringer fantasy guys, House, Sal, Dabbundo, 3-way tie. My squad with Raheem and Ariel Epstein only 1 game off the lead. Shield 2 games off the lead. Let's see where there's some unity here.
Kansas City.
Miami. Oh boy, a lot of Miami. Where else do I see some unity? I see a lot of Kansas City. Wow, 4-5. Taking the Kansas City Chiefs, laying the 5.5 here.
What could go wrong?
So I have a question for you, Dabbundo, because we're starting to see 6s pop up in the market on Kansas City. And I said early on the show, if I see a 6, I want the Chargers. How do you feel about this game?
I was actually at dinner with House last night, and he made a very convincing case for the Chiefs. And he said that this was one of his favorite bets of the year, just a spot that he had circled.
Oh.
And I am not going to take the Chargers at 6. Nope. Not going to happen.
The problem is the combination of factors. If it was just one factor, but you start with the fact that the Chargers have been very underwhelming on the road all season long. And then you add in, they played a physical overtime game that damn near went the entire length of the overtime. Then you add in the fact that it's a short week. Then you add in the fact that the Eagles managed 70% pressure without Jalen Carter. And the Chiefs are certainly capable of that same level of pressure. And then you add in how many sacks Herbert took. And the first time that man's body touches the frozen ground in Kansas City, I don't like it for the Chargers one bit.
We got to find out who the syndicate is that keeps steaming the Chiefs every single Sunday morning.
Well, last week we took advantage of it with the Houston Texans. This week, though, I'm riding
2 weeks ago, it was Indy, too. When they played Indy, they went from 3.5 to 4.5 while we were on the show. I mean, there's been a lot of that this year. And we talked about this, too. Like, if the Chiefs played a game against any AFC team tomorrow, the betting markets would still make them a favorite. So should we be buying them to win the Super Bowl?
Well, a certain someone on the show already did going into this Sunday of NFL football. We'll see, Joe House, if that Super Bowl ticket has any life when we chat in 24 hours for East Coast Bias on the Ringer Gambling Show. That's going to do it for the Ringer Sunday pregame. Cannot wait to watch these games here in Week 15. For Anthony Dabbundo, Raheem Palmer, Joe House, Cousin Sal, John Jastremski signing off. Enjoy all the football. So many winners, hopefully, coming your way. And you want to stay tuned all week. Ringer Gambling Show, noon Eastern. We'll see you then. Boys are out. Be good, everybody.